Hello guys and welcome back to another video. So here today I wanted to cover something that I was not really covered by anyone on YouTube. So I have a problem with usage stats. So I'm sorry the video is not like scripted, so it will sometimes be a bit messy, but hope you understand. So the thing is that when you see usage stats, which means like which mon is good or bad. That's how you think it kind of is. So you see Pokemon that are not good in OU will have a lesser usage stats and go down to UU. And if they don't meet the usage threshold, they will go down to RU, NU, PU, etc. So when you look at, I will take the example of RU because I actually play that tier. I don't play any of the other tiers, so UU, NU, PU, ZU. So let's look at RU. You see that when you think of RU, you will imagine that Cyclizard, Zapdos, Bisharp, and like HO kind of runs the tier. Because you have mods like Suicide Cleavon. You've got Mimikyu, which is probably only good on HO. Armarouge, which is an offensive mod. So Bisharp, which is also an only offensive mod, you know. So you kind of see a pattern of very offensive mods. So you would imagine that RU is only pure offense. But in reality, that's more complicated than this. Because these usage doesn't actually reflect really RU. RU is more complex than just HO or something like that. So I'm gonna show you this. So let's start with actually comparing these usage to the viability ranking, which kind of undermines how good a mon is. And we see that some mons that are not used on the ladder are actually bad. You've got Slowbro, and you see Pokemon like Crocodile, who are not top 10 are yet A+. You see Slitherwing too. So this kind of shows that there's already a big difference between what's good on the ladder and what ladder people use mostly, and what's actually viable. And the biggest example is this guy here. Fortress has 9% of usage last month on the RU ladder, which means it's probably like top 15 usage, and it's actually ranked D, which means it's actually so terrible that it wouldn't be advised to use it any time. So this kind of gives you an idea that, wow, actually RU doesn't mean anything when it compares to usage stat, because people use nothing on the ladder that's actually really good. They use their favorites. But why would that be the case? Is that also the case for OU? And I'll say that OU is kind of different. I don't play OU that much, but the thing is OU has a lot more data, which is kind of a mark that lower tiers need, because OU has a lot more play games. So it's actually kind of balanced between the good players who use good mons and so mediocre players who use more mediocre mons. This is kind of counteracted in theory by the fact that you have to reach a certain elo for your usage stat games to count. But the problem is, in reality, that it's so low, the elo you need in lower tiers, that you can use basically anything and get to that elo and destroy Pokemon like Fortress. You have no niche. So what is actually good usage stat? How can I know which mon is actually the most used? There's actually no real answer to this, because there's a kind of a middling solution, but it's not perfect, and it's called tournaments, team tournaments specifically. So you've got RUBD at the moment, which is a team tournament that's actually in the RU specifically, with 5 slots in the RU. So this is pretty good to get an idea of what tournament players use, because it's about being drafted. So it's only the better players that are drafted. So that means you actually get some interesting choices. But I will come back to some problems later. You see that the most used mod is actually Zapdos Galar, which is a 41% usage rate. Jirachi is also in the top 10 of both. Cyclizard is the same. And Crocodile is actually there now. You've got Pokemon like Slowbro. You've got Pokemon like Noivern to come in. You've got Zoroark, you've got Weezing Galar. So, and Pokemon like Mimikyu, who are top 10, are actually 14th. Rudra is also 14th. So you come down really on the Pokemon that are actually good. Salamence, who was top 10 on the ladder, only had 9 usage and 6% on the actual tournament. So you see that there start to be problems because viability rankings would put Cyclizar not at third, they put it at A, so it's probably like 12th or etc. But ladder that usage means that the Pokemon is more fit on these types of teams, so you will use it more. So this is probably the closest we will get to actually usage the usage stats that is gives a good grasp as to the tier. But there are some problems because if you look at this case, you see that the usage is the data is actually very low. 58 uses is nothing compared to the number of games played in RU, which I think is in the thousands. So you actually get less data, so it's more biased towards extremes, which is not always what you want. So this is kind of a problem. But I still think this is the best shot, and if you can, for your tier, look at actual tournament usage, this will give you a better idea. But you will ask, why don't I use the actual most prestigious tours like SCL, who had RU? Well, the problem is SCL only had even less data. So because there was only 5 games of RU played per week, and even if they innovate a lot, they kind of don't really show what's actually used that much because there's only 5 games per week. Well, here it was more in one. It was about 20. So this gives a better idea, a better sample of the data. But then you see that another problem which actual use and use these type of usage stats is that people will try to innovate in tournaments. So you see Pokemon that are actually not in the RU used quite a lot, like Wochip, for example. You can see Gligar, because there was Okidogi on the... No, Okidogi wasn't here, but Gligar is used quite a lot. So you see, this is the kind of stuff that shows that, yeah, people will try to innovate. So there's no perfect solution. I still do believe that this is the closest we can get to an actual usage stat that is viable. But yeah, this is... If there's no perfect solution, I would recommend still going on Smogon and looking for this type of stuff. Better than just looking at the usage stat. And hope you enjoyed the video. Drop a like, leave a comment, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace!